Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we'll be talking about a very large winter storm that is going to be moving into the country. This thing will be bringing obviously lots of rain, lots of snow, very heavy snow across the west, the Midwest, and potentially even into the Northeast. So this thing is going to be a classic winter storm. Hopefully not as significant as the ones we've been seeing, the past two ones especially, though it definitely could be rivaling those. This thing will have potentially record amounts of snow across some of the mountain ranges across the west, with an overall extremely active pattern hitting the western United States. There could be areas that get over 6 feet of snow according to the National Weather Service. So truly a incredible winter storm. And again, unlike this one, the current one we're seeing, this thing could bring a lot of severe weather and potentially very heavy snow into the central part of the country as well. So let's start talking about this. And again, just to give you guys a brief overview, we are dealing with a system right now that did bring a lot of snow towards the south and west. There are many areas reporting over 2 feet of snow from California, even into portions of Arizona, New Mexico. There were several reports that were very substantial. Notice we do have a low just situated east of Denver, and you can see that thing is going to intensify and bring a swath of narrow but potentially heavy snow across Nebraska and into Minnesota tonight, mainly just north and west of Minneapolis, though we'll have to wait and see on how that unfolds. But notice that thing moves out, and we will see broad area of rain across the east. However, I want to emphasize that that is not the storm that we're talking about. The one I'm really interested in and concerns me a lot more is this one that will start moving in as early as well, really tomorrow. So this thing is going to be even more impactful than this one, and potentially a lot more dangerous. So let's start talking about that. Let's begin with the Northwestern United States. So the Northwestern United States has been absolutely getting slammed so far by this pattern. It's been dealt a heavy blow in terms of the snow amount, the amount of rain they've been dealing with. You can see the snow is still clearing up from that previous system. A little wave will move in from this kind of, I guess, like a different system, a little cold, kind of a diminishing cold front. This thing will bring a little bit of rain and snow into Oregon, California, and I say little, it will still be significant, potentially some areas well over a foot, except compared to the bigger one, this is rather small. And notice that this is into tomorrow. That's not really the system we're concerned with. The main system that we're going to be tracking and talking about is this guy right here, and you can see that this is the first wave of precipitation it brings, and this is on Thursday. Late Thursday into Friday. So again, same areas getting snow, rain, copious amounts of precipitation yet again. Notice though that this system particularly takes an aim on the southern Oregon and northern California area and into northern Nevada. So while Washington, you do get some snow from these kind of precursors, so same with Idaho and into Wyoming and Montana, especially western Montana. The bulk of this heavy stuff, which you can see starts intensifying right there with the system on Saturday, is going to be just south of kind of the Northwest. Still though, a lot of these areas are going to pick up a lot of snow and a lot of rain. It's just that it's not going to be as nearly as significant as here. You can see across the Sierra into Nevada and northern Utah. So let me start showing you this. As we progresses through the day on Saturday, Sunday, Oregon, Washington, you guys are mainly not dealing with snow. Same with northern Idaho. However, southern Idaho and a good portion of southern Montana and into northern Wyoming, you can see this system spreads, and you can see it delivers quite a bit of snow. And as this thing progresses into a potential blizzard across the plains, there could be a lot of snow that falls into Wyoming and Montana, and that system is out of here by Wednesday the 4th. However, you can see there are more systems in the meantime that hit the west coast, just with obviously less precip and less intensity. Let's take a look at the total accumulated precip, rain and snow all combined. You can see the heaviest hit areas are towards the Pacific, here towards the south and west of the northwestern United States. Montana, southern Canada, you can see you're not getting in much on that. Vancouver and areas of British Columbia will be getting some rain. However, you can see Calgary and areas into Saskatchewan, nothing really too significant there. In terms of the total snowfall, you can see again, not so much across southern Canada. British Columbia, you will be dealing with quite a bit of snow. Same with Washington, Montana, especially western and southern Montana. You can see Wyoming, especially from that system, once it intensifies across the north central United States. It's still a little bit far, so the details are fuzzy on this snowfall totals here. But across Oregon, Washington, the snow is going to be pretty prolific, and of course across California, Nevada, Utah, southern Idaho, especially, also pretty prolific snowfall amounts. So the Northwest is going to get hit by this pretty heavily. If you look at the National Weather Service map, there are advisories mainly up for the precursor, if you will, of these events. So again, again, the main big one isn't going to move until around late Thursday, early Friday, but we do already have some snow that will happen in between that, and you can see tonight there is some slight chance. Tonight, this afternoon and into tonight, you could see there's some heavy snow. Into tomorrow, starts becoming more of a rain-snow mix as that new system comes in and pushes a lot warmer air in with all that precipitation it has, so you can see it's more of a rain-snow mix for you guys, but the higher elevations will be dealing with a much stronger system, and we have watches out ahead of it already across the west coast there. So that is the Northwest. I do want to show you some of the rainfall amounts that fell across the Northwest over the past 72 hours. You can see Seattle, 2.5 inches approximately. Mount Olympia, somewhere in that area, you can see almost 6 inches. Olympia, Washington, 2, 3. So these are some significant rainfall amounts. Obviously, you can see it spreading across a good portion of these of the west, and some areas obviously didn't, but you will be getting some rain in the meantime. So a very active weather pattern is on the way for the Northwest, with this system bringing that impact into this upcoming holiday weekend. Do notice that the European model, which I have pulled up on this website, I don't actually, but I will, because there is some slight differences between the models. Let me go back here and show you this. So the GFS was the model that I just showed you. In terms of timing, the models generally agree, but the European has a little bit of differences. So notice there's that little precursor system moving in the next few hours. That's not going to be significant. There's that first main wave from that system. You can see right there. But again, as I mentioned, it's not going to be targeting the Northwest as much as it will be further south and west into the southwestern United States. You can see that rain, snow really starts picking up. So while these northwest states and southern Canada, you will see some precip from these first band of precip, it's going to be mainly done by Saturday as that system tracks across the south here. So by Sunday, you guys are pretty much out of this. And again, the precipitation amounts are going to be pretty significant according to the European model. Just like the GFS, you can see showing a lot, especially near the coastal areas. But if you turn on that snowfall accumulation forecast map, you could quickly see that some of these amounts are definitely impressive, especially across some areas that didn't even see some precipitation with the previous systems, as we saw on that rain forecast map across southwestern Oregon and whatnot. So definitely stay tuned to your local National Weather Service. It will be pretty warm, so Seattle, Portland, you won't be seeing snow out of this, but the higher elevated areas and areas that typically see snow will definitely be seeing some precipitation. Let's go now to the southwestern United States, as this is now an area that is also going to be really heavily impacted by this system. In fact, it's going to be delivering some extremely heavy snowfall for these areas. Potentially the biggest system we've seen this year, and we've already seen some pretty big systems. So obviously we're stuck in a very active pattern. Right now across the southwest, we are seeing snow still wrapping up from the previous system across Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, and yes, we're already talking about a new one. Notice there will be a little precursor into tomorrow, which will bring some light to moderate snow across the mountainous area, some light to moderate rain. That is nothing compared to what's coming. With the big system, we see the first energy push coming in on late Friday, pretty much right on the heels of that precursor, again dropping light snow and rain. However, you can see that this quickly starts intensifying, and we literally see an atmospheric river setup of in terms of precipitation amounts and everything across southern Oregon and northern California. That's where it starts targeting these areas significantly. We see the precipitation rates really ramp up. So unlike some of the other systems we've seen, this thing isn't well developed, but as it hits the west coast, it develops stronger. It develops into a more well-organized system. Notice, because of how warm and how much moisture this thing's pumping into these areas, obviously Oregon, Nevada, further north, you guys will be seeing heavy snow, but in northern California, even the areas that typically see snow, will be seeing a lot of heavy rain. Obviously, the extreme peaks will be seeing snow, but as this thing kind of slows down that moisture transports and begins intensifying, you can see this is now into late Friday and into Saturday. We continue seeing very heavy snow across much of Nevada, into Utah, the Wasatch, southern Idaho, into Colorado, but look, we see some really incredible precipitation rates across just north of San Francisco, eventually moving into San Francisco, and then eventually that rain converting to very heavy snow across the northern Sierra, central Sierra, southern Sierra, northern Nevada. So this is a multi-day thing. Again, it begins moving in early Friday, late Thursday, right on the heels of this guy, which is going to be moving in late Wednesday, early Thursday. So pretty much tonight. You're right. So again, this main one that we're talking about, Friday, you can see into Friday night into Saturday, really dropping a lot of precipitation, and again, turning more snowier rather than rainier on Saturday and into Sunday, as opposed close to its first few hours when it makes landfall. And look at that. Very strong low pressure, 996 for the western United States here. Very strong winds. Incredible potentially snowfall rates here occurring. 4 to 5, 6 inches of snow per hour across the mountainous areas, which is why some areas could end up with over 6 feet of snow. Nevada, you can see Utah get into this. All of Arizona, there could be some very significant snow accumulations here as well. And notice this thing continues tracking into Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico as this thing develops into a monster storm across the plains. This thing continues dumping snow into Wyoming, into Colorado, and you can see yet another system already moves in right on the heels of that, and the wet pattern continues, an active pattern. But just from this system alone, and a little bit of some of the precursors, you can see that there's going to be, well, off the chart snowfall in terms of the Sierra, which isn't unusual, but from one system definitely is a lot. So again, snowfall amounts over 6 feet is not out of the question. Some amounts will be lighter, especially towards the northern Trinity, where some of that will be converting into more of rain as opposed to snow. Notice though, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, even just north of Los Angeles in some of these mountains picking up some snow. Arizona, New Mexico, these areas haven't seen a lot of snow so far. You guys are going to be really picking up on some of those snowfall. You're missing snowpack they don't have. Colorado, Utah, incredible amounts of snow. So that is that from this system. Insane system. Really good agreement with the European and GFS overall on this system. You can see the European, what it shows in terms of its snowfall projection from this storm for these areas. Also, incredible amounts for the Sierra. You can see 80, 70 inches. Nevada, also many areas over a foot and a half. Same with Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah. In terms of the total precipitation, so this includes rainfall. So this shows us, there could be areas across the northern Sierra here, central Sierra, just where kind of north of Oroville is where there could be up to 10 inches of rainfall. Obviously, some of that will be falling there as snow, some of it as rain, but still incredible. San Francisco, potentially 5 inches. So flooding is obviously a concern, mudslides and whatnot, and that's all across the west. So incredible rainfall and snowfall, overall precipitation amounts. And again, some of these areas have had already quite a bit of precipitation with these past events. You could see these same areas that could get over 9 inches already have 3-4 inches in the past 72 hours. So really concerning, and it just shows the scale of this monster. You can see there are watches already issued for this area. There is a winter weather advisory for the precursor storms, as I was saying, but there is already a winter storm watch issued for that new big beast that's going to be moving in. And if you look at some of these watches and do some reading, you can see that amounts obviously will be pretty I guess fluid, in the sense that some areas will be seeing just a few inches, but depending on elevation, obviously. So the higher you go, the amounts really add up. 1 to 3 feet above 7,000 feet, you expect up to 5 feet above 8,000 feet. And if you move on into some of the portions of the southern central Sierra, where we have some really high elevated areas, especially near Mammoth Lakes, and around the kind of the surrounding areas, you look at the winter storm watch I have issued there, you will see that they have 4 to 6 feet right there above 9,000 elevation. You see 4 to 6 feet. So incredible snowfall, if not even more than 6 feet, as the National Weather Service is still staying kind of conservative there. So yeah, just an insane system moving in for these areas, obviously causing a bucket load of concerns. Let's now move on to the north central United States. I will obviously keep you guys updated from the Southwest and Northwest, and everyone that is watching, as this system is it's going to be an incredible storm. Notice the north central United States, you guys aren't going to be seeing as much, I guess, precipitation with this thing. You will have your fair share, but maybe not as record-breaking as the Southwest and Northwest. But do note, in the meantime, very warm temperatures for a good majority. Obviously, the Dakotas, Minnesota, still staying cool. And you can see with the current system we have going on, not the main one I'm talking about in the title, but a separate one, there will be a swath of snow tonight across Minnesota and Nebraska. That will bring some snow and will cool things off at least a little bit. I do want to say that into Saturday and especially Sunday, there will be some rain across a good portion of the southeastern section of these states. So Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, West Virginia, you will be seeing some rain out of this into Sunday, so on the New Year's. Again, no snow for you, but that's not the main system we're talking about. What we do start seeing is, again, warming temperatures yet again on Monday and into Tuesday of the next week into the new year. So notice these the winds are going to be coming from the south. We see this 540 line, which is typically a 32-degree line in terms of temperature, really get pushed far towards the north, but we see snow breaking out across the Dakotas potentially, and we see that low pressure, once it dumps already a ton of rain and snow across the southwest, it moves out into Colorado and it begins strengthening. We do have a severe weather risk, unfortunately, across especially the southern areas of the north central United States. You can see the Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk of severe weather, or an enhanced, I guess, area of watching already across southern Illinois, Indiana, southern Missouri, but mainly across the south central states. And this is already, what, day 6? Yeah, so very far out, but again, such a large system warrants quite a bit of warning. And you can see this thing really explodes. 983, 987 millibars, and lots of precipitation out ahead of it. You can see very strong winds, obviously, probably not blizzard conditions, but regardless, very heavy snow, some icing, very heavy rain. You can see again those thunderstorms getting very far towards the north for the time that it is. Again, an anomaly and a half, if you will. Notice that behind this system, once it kind of weakens, we start seeing just some more light spreading snow potentially into the Twin Cities, Wisconsin, and that rain continuing across the Ohio Valley, Indiana, and Michigan. Again, I just want to emphasize that this exact track of this system is still unknown. Chances are this snow won't be occurring way across Illinois, Michigan, right? But, whether or not it divots 200, 300 miles in this way, that way, Minneapolis could get in on the snow depending on which model you look at. So there's still a lot of uncertainty. But all models do show a significant storm and a kind of a moderate cool off after it. Nothing too incredible, though. Notice that if we look at the 2-meter temperature, if you look at the total accumulated precipitation, again, pretty significant amounts, especially to where that severe weather could be occurring, but even where that snow occurs across South Dakota, potentially quite a bit of snow. And you can see if I click on the total snowfall accumulations, there could be amounts that are well over a foot, foot and a half. So that's definitely something to watch for. Notice now, if I take a look at the temperature anomaly, so out ahead of this thing for a good portion of the north central United States here, it will be very warm into the early part of next week. I mean, anomalies that are potentially record-breaking, 50s, 60s, potentially across Illinois, Indiana, Michigan. Obviously, behind this system, we see cooler temperatures, but nothing incredible. Cooler compared to what will be out ahead of the system, but they still may be running relatively above average. Later on in the long range, maybe, but even then you can see that the GFS really shows some pretty remarkably warm temperatures for the first week of January for these areas. So again, this is going to be something we have to watch for. Let me show you what the European model shows, because its forecast track is a little bit different for this winter storm, and it makes quite a bit of a difference, and I'll show you why. So again, we have that first rain system across the north central United States. The European shows that just like the GFS into this weekend. Once we get into early next week, we see that snow spreading across Nebraska, the Dakotas. So again, similar to what the GFS was showing, you can see there's that storm, a lot of that precipitation beginning to explode, but it's a more southern track, so we don't see the snow into North Dakota, we see it more potentially into Minneapolis, right, into Sioux City. So the European shows much more of a southern track. It does show still that concerning severe weather potential outbreak and quite a bit of heavy rain into Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, southern Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri. On the other side of Iowa, northwestern side, there could be that snow. And notice into Wisconsin, quite a bit of that snow, much further south than what the GFS shows. Still a pretty incredible event and a absolute soaker for the areas across the southern parts of the Midwest, where it will be mainly as rain. If I take a look at the total precipitation amounts, including rain and snow, you can see they're pretty significant. Obviously, where that snow occurs, but also where that rain occurs across Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. There's some pretty incredible amounts, especially combined with the rain that you'll be seeing into this weekend. So that's definitely something to watch for. And if you take a look at the total snowfall, assuming a 10-to-1 ratio, you could see that what we do end up seeing right there is a potential event that is even more robust than what the GFS shows, maybe up to even a foot across the Twin Cities, maybe in the south you can see into Iowa, Wisconsin. So we'll have to track this carefully, as again the European and GFS are kind of in a bickering battle here. And if you look at the Europeans' past model runs, you can see that there's been a resounding track towards the south with this. So again, will this track even further towards the south into Illinois, Michigan? Probably not, but we'll have to see, because I would favor the European for now compared to the GFS, but again, it could easily be a track in between what these two models show, which is, again, the GFS shows it much further towards the north than what the European shows further south. So that is definitely something we'll have to watch for. But again, early next week, things go down. I'll stay tuned for this. I'll keep you guys updated on that. Let's take a look at the south central United States, another area that could be significantly impacted by this system. Again, not necessarily in form of snow, unless you count yourself in New Mexico being part of the south central, but that's I coin as the southwest turn part of the United States, and I made a previous little clip on that, so go watch that. This is where I kind of focus on states, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and anywhere pretty much east of that. Notice, though, I do want to emphasize, into tonight, there will be snow that spreads into Kansas, northern Kansas, northwestern Kansas, a little bit of snow, so that's something to watch for into tonight. Notice across the southern areas into Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, right, so kind of the central, southern, south central United States, you will be seeing some rain into tomorrow, into Thursday, and into Friday, quite heavy at times. We can see that drifts out of here by Saturday and Sunday, providing an actual pretty nice New Year's Eve and New Year's Day for the vast majority of these people. A little bit of light snow across Colorado as well. Notice, though, we see that precipitation really start to light up again on January 2nd, January 3rd, and we see a potential severe weather outbreak as this system, which is pretty strong moving in from the mountains, produces a lot of precipitation, uplift, upheaval, and that produces some nasty storms. The Storm Prediction Center already issued a pretty large area of severe weather kind of alerts, or watchful, I guess, area for day 6 out, which is pretty far out, meaning that they're pretty confident that this thing will be nasty and big. So you can see severe weather, Arkansas, Missouri, Texas, Louisiana. Again, the exact details and exact placement of this is still unknown, but with such a strong system, this is definitely something I would expect. Obviously, very strong winds towards the actual low pressure itself, but this will be a mainly rain event for all these folks here across the south central United States. There will be a cool off, a moderate one after this system, you can see. So that is definitely something I want to note. But it's not going to be anything like the cool off we saw that previous fierce cold front, right? So let's take a look at some of these rainfall amounts, and they will be pretty significant, especially across Arkansas, Missouri, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, where that severe weather really explodes potentially. So 2 to 5 inches of rainfall, which is pretty significant. Total snowfall really limited, excluding maybe northern Arkansas or northern Kansas with that snowfall tonight, but from that big beast that I have the title about, you're not going to see much snow from the south central United States. So no snow for you guys. However, let's take a look at the total 2-meter temperature anomaly. I want to show you that out ahead of the system, we'll see some really warm temperatures. We're seeing some really warm temperatures even now into tomorrow, right? That will pass, maybe more of a moderate warm up into this upcoming weekend. Still running almost, ridiculously warm, I would say. But yeah, again, Monday you can see it really peaks, and that's why the severe weather is going to have the potential to be so significant because of all that warm air out ahead of it. Notice it cools down quite significantly afterwards, at least towards more normal temperatures. But that doesn't last long as more systems bring in warm air. So there you have it. In terms of the European model for the severe weather for you guys, it's equally as concerning. The European doesn't really spare you from that. Doesn't show you snow either, though, so at least there's that. Keeps that consistent. It does show maybe a little bit more snow into northern Kansas with this system. You can see it's a bit more of a southern tracking low, so it shows more rain into Kansas, Oklahoma. Hopefully we could get some more rain into eastern or western Kansas, as there's some really dry conditions there. Same thing with western Nebraska and the Oklahoma Panhandle. Still, though, you can see a lot of rain lifting towards the north through Arkansas, Louisiana, and again a cool off behind this thing. So in terms of total rainfall amounts, pretty similar to the GFS, but again, it's the severe weather that's really concerning, and you can see that some areas will definitely be picking up a lot of rain from this, and that's not out of the question right there. And yeah, so that's basically what I wanted to show you for the south central United States. Let's go to the northeast, as this is where things get a little bit, let's just say, icky as well. A lot of forecast details that are still yet to be resolved. Right now, you guys are dealing with a little bit of snow across southeastern Canada. Warm up is coming in, and this, you guys will be dealing with 2 systems actually. So the first one is going to be mainly rain, and that's not the title that I have the video about, or the video that I have titled. That's not the title storm. The title storm is the second one that's going to be occurring midweek next week. This one is just all rain for you guys. Maybe a little bit of light snow towards the far north into Quebec, Quebec and portions of Ontario there. Again, mainly all rain, and we'll have a little bit of snow, maybe change over towards the end. Nothing too significant. A little bit of a cool down coming into Monday after this thing passes through on Sunday, and then this thing is out of here. Notice, though, we see a warm up back again once this thing explodes across the south central and north central states. Very warm air, so rain is pretty much all across these areas. And what we do see here is a potential re-intensification of some sort of a rain band. It doesn't look like a massive snowstorm for you guys for this thing, though you could see that it could come in several waves of rain. and each time that snow gets a little bit further towards the south, and there are some signs that, with some of these waves, there could be maybe an intensification off the coast, leading to some either just moderate snowfall amounts further north, or even potentially some coastal. You could see the GFS flirting with the idea, not directly correlated with that storm, but it's kind of the cold front from that storm that sweeps across the country and starts pumping up these little bursts of precipitation. So you can see, obviously, areas that do see rain will see quite a bit of it, but areas that see cold enough, especially from the later pumps of this moisture, if you will, especially towards late week next week and into the weekend, you can see maybe some decent snowfall. Nothing incredible, but definitely something to watch for. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Again, the GFS is just one model that shows a scenario that is obviously very wet overall. The snow is a bit more trickier to forecast, especially if we do see some sort of intensification. Notice that the European model for you guys for the next 240 hours also shows a lot of precipitation from several of these systems. Again, the first one into this weekend, and that big one into next week. So again, this week's system into the weekend, you can see providing quite a bit of rain for you guys. Again, the European shows a bit more snow, but that's again pretty far towards the north, not affecting really any major areas. But obviously, if you live across southern Quebec here into potentially Nova Scotia, Labrador areas, you will be seeing a little bit of snow there. Again, out ahead of the second one, a giant warm up, more significant rain. So you guys with this first band will definitely be seeing quite a bit of rain. The European does start showing some snow though into Maine as this thing kind of overrides that cold air, but eventually that warm air does break through, and you can see there's that redevelopment potentially of another front, another storm with this thing, maybe a bit more snow with this one. Again, what this does is a little bit tricky to tell. Some models show a nor'easter, some don't, some just show a lot of snow for the southern Canadian cities, but for the northeastern United States show a lot of rain. But again, if you live across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, I would mainly say that you guys are going to be dealing with rain for this. No big chance for snow. Obviously, the further north you go, the chances increase, but after that the pattern may quiet down a bit for you guys, so you're not seeing pretty much rain constantly. So again, the European amounts, I showed you that already with the rainfall. Again, just to refresh you, pretty significant. But if you take a look at the snowfall amounts, they're also pretty significant across the areas that do only see it, which really is kind of limited there. So that is that. Let's now move on to the southeastern United States, as this is yet again another region of the United States that could be dealing with a lot of active weather into this upcoming few weeks with this system, or I guess, yeah, these systems. And you can see that right now it is pretty quiet. We have strong southerly winds though, so you know what that means, strong moisture transport. So warm temperatures are nice, but you also get that rain. And as early as tomorrow and into early Friday, we see quite a bit of heavy rain breaking up across southern the Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama. This thing's going to be hard to track, but you can see it's pretty broad, moving generally towards the east as we head into Saturday and into Sunday through Florida, the Carolinas, and then eventually pushing off into Sunday completely off the coast. So there will be quite a bit of rain just through Sunday, so New Year's Day. New Year's Eve might be pretty soggy, unfortunately, for a good portion of the southeast here. You can see some areas definitely picking up at least a few inches of rainfall. Notice though, out ahead of that second system, we see the strong southerly winds return yet again, and that means more moisture and potentially severe weather. So I talked about this earlier with the south central United States region, but you can see a really nasty front develops, and how far this thing continues to be severe. This could continue well into Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky with some severe weather, or you can see right there potentially into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So this will be something we'll have to watch for. Again, the details are still uncertain depending on how this system unfolds, though you can see it showed some sort of intensification, re-intensification according to the GFS, potentially across Alabama, again into Georgia, Tennessee. So not only is a heavy rain threat going on there, but also again the severe weather, and you can see some of those colors are vivid. So next week will really be busy for you guys, and this doesn't pull away till pretty much Friday of next week. Obviously the total rainfall amounts from this are pretty concerning across some of these areas, seeing 6, 7, 8 inches if not more. That would be pretty bad, something we definitely don't want to see. But also the severe weather. If you look at the Storm Prediction Center for day 6, which is far out, it has this. I would not be surprised as we get closer, it starts showing some day 7 and day 8 risks further south and east. So definitely a strong system. If you look at the European model, it shows a slightly different scenario for the southeastern United States with regard to that severe weather, because it takes a more southern track, the low pressure compared to the GFS model, which I was just showing you. There's that first one you can see into this weekend. That's pretty well agreed on by both models. But the second one, as it moves through, you can see we do see a bit more vigorous, I would say, severe weather with the European model scenario as opposed to the GFS, mainly because it's further south. So you can see pretty nasty rain and storms out ahead of this thing, and into again Tuesday, especially Wednesday across the southeast. This thing really becomes pretty nasty. But notice, just like the GFS, the European shows some sort of a slowdown and a redevelopment of some heavy rain across the southeast, with again more severe weather as we head into potentially late part of the week. So a multi-stage event, multi-stage storm, very heavy rain, very heavy yeah, I almost said very heavy snow. Not for the southeast with you here, but yeah, very heavy rain and very strong concerns for flooding. You can see some of the global models, not even the high res, show 7 to 8 inches. So that is definitely concerning, almost matching some of the amounts here further out west. So that is that. And again, just to give you guys a brief overview, the pattern will continue to be chaotic with big systems kind of thrown in here and there. And with all this moisture and warm air relatively for, January, we'll be seeing a lot of activity and a lot of storms that could quickly develop because of just all that moisture they have available. So again, first big thing going on is, again, today, that first system, original one that moved in yesterday on the west, that's going to be bringing rain across the northeast. But look at this one right here, very intense as it digs through the south and west, produces a massive rain shield and snow shield. And again, this thing could be lagging for a few days. You can see hanging on and potentially develop into some sort of a northeast system. And behind that, you may think, oh, maybe we'll get a break. And you can see right there, GFS also showing more snow. Maybe a little break. No, more storms move in. They're all pretty big as well. What they do across the United States further on is a bit of a mystery, but it seems like they will be definitely at least impacting the west coast there. So yeah, that is basically it for today's video. It was a really long video, as you could tell, if you're still watching the overview at this point. But it's a large storm, so these videos, they will be all long in the coming days. It's again one of these systems that is going to be breaking probably headlines, at least in some sort of form of massive severe weather or cold. Again, the previous system we had at least did not have severe weather. This one unfortunately will, and it looks pretty big. It looks like a pretty big event. The snow again also looks pretty significant, and yeah, just the good thing is there won't be as bitter cold behind us, if at all. There will just be maybe more seasonal temperatures. But yeah, overall, not a cold pattern following that big cool down, and more of a chaotic pattern. Again, chaotic I say because it's hard to predict what will happen. You can see some vigorous systems across the south here that look more something you'd see again during the summer. Systems across the northwest you'd associate with the La Nina pattern, and then maybe something here that you'd see cold air troughing across the northeast that you typically see during a neutral. So yeah, all different sorts of patterns going on. But we'll have to wait and see. Again, for now, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.